Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.42 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market's off 2.9%. Bitcoin holding 108,000 plus. Ethereum holding 2,500 plus. Number 4 spots XRP. We're up to 228 now. Now, why is that important? I don't usually get excited over the little moves, but I know that the technical analysts have told us that there are some very, very important price points that we want to stay above. 222 was certainly one of those, and being at 228 makes me feel good because I know that the technical analysts say that that is bullish to be above the 222. We'll have some other information to look at, but we're up 2.4 on the 24 and up 3.8 on the 7-day. Now, taking a look at the range, we're ranging between 222, the very number we were talking about, and a 228. I love that we're at the top side of the range. We'll keep an eye on it. But you know what I want to tell you about right now is Gulf of America XRP.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most fun, exciting things that I am looking forward to doing for myself and my family. That's right. It's a little beach bungalow or a condo even. They have it all. All you have to do is click the link underneath the video, reach out, call or text Daniel, and I'm telling you, he will get you lined up and even build out a mailer to your personal choices if you'd like. But you can get a property down in Florida here. And let me just tell you, this is like 1.7 or 2.2 in that range. This little cute cottage, and I picked it because I think it was 1.7 was the number. But look, look at this beautiful water back here. It looks like it's on the Bahamas. Now, I'm going to give you a better picture. Look at this. This is the beach right outside of your door. That's what this is. And that's your deck. And this is water that looks like you're in the Bahama Islands, but you're in the continental United States, the panhandle of Florida, Panama City, Destin Beach area. That's what we're talking about. This is a remarkable, remarkable opportunity. The fact that I can stay in the continental United States and get the white, silky, sandy beaches and the beautiful, beautiful island water and never leave the continental U.S. is a game changer for me and my family. And I am excited to kick this off. Look at that cute little living room and look at that priceless view outside that window. Now, I know most of us have a spouse that's not into crypto or into investing in general, but the other one is. But I'm pretty sure that even if your spouse is not into investing, she'll be into that view right there. I guarantee you that. Matter of fact, if I own this house, the only thing changing in this picture is that television's going in the closet. You got a view like that, I don't need to watch any movies. I can tell you that much right now. But look, all you got to do is go to gulfofamericaxrp.com and sign up today. Reach out to Daniel. And by the way, you can timeshare all of this stuff and take some of the burden off of the family and the paying for it and enjoy yourself while you're there, because you know everybody else is paying for it. They have all of these services ready to plug and play to meet your needs. gulfofamericaxrp.com. Get started today. Oh yeah, that's the way you do it. We got really, really great news. First of all, this is Mercado Bitcoin. What is Mercado Bitcoin for anyone who doesn't know? It's the largest digital asset investment platform in Latin America. For 12 years, we've been managing the wealth of 4 million clients. Are you kidding me right now? That's huge. But why is it really huge? Because that largest platform in Latin America is tokenizing $200 million worth of real-world assets on the XRP ledger. That's what's happening. This is the kind of stuff I'm telling you over time. It's going to be very tough for the maxis, but it'll be very good for this space because it will dissolve the argument of any maxi. Because it is the interoperability and the integration of the traditional finance system and all of those products being tokenized that will make a tribalist or a maximist look like a silly child. Mercado Bitcoin's integration with the XRP ledger shows how public blockchain infrastructure is being trusted by institutions and is becoming a reliable foundation for bringing regulated financial products to the market. Oh, and I'm not done with you yet. And we know here over in Germany, Dr. Martin Heisboik says banks all over the world are getting into crypto, not just Mercado's platform, but the one below is the biggest German retail bank, Sparkassen. And I don't want to try to even charge for the rest of it. But nonetheless, Simon McLaughlin, CEO of Uphold, says, hey, let me give it to you this way. Institutions are waking up. In this case, we're talking about 50 million customers on that massive, massive retail platform. I love it. Uphold grabs it too. Institutions don't move alone. They move millions. This isn't a trend. It's a tidal shift. That's right. That institution alone bringing 50 million German customers into the ball game. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. When you get that back end adoption of the entire financial system, that's how you get all of the individual customers, because all of them, whatever bank they're at, are going to be a customer by default, right? I mean, that's where this is going. And then here at home, we know we have Crypto Week that's headed our way. And actually, it's the next 2 weeks, including the week of July 14th. It's the Clarities Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act, and the Genius Act, all moving very quickly. And we know we also just got the tax bill as well. So this is a big, big, big moment. Let's listen to Representative French Hill right here.
In the middle of making crypto policy for the United States of America, you have an upcoming Crypto Week. Tell us about that.
Well, right now, digital assets, cryptocurrency, and everything related to using financial payments on a blockchain is basically not regulated, not clear to consumers, investors, entrepreneurs how to use it, how to avoid federal prosecution. So in 2 weeks, we'll bring to the House floor the Clarity Act, which gives the rules of the road of how to invest in digital assets, how to trade them, how you can be a broker, and the market framework for digital assets. And we'll also bring to the House floor dollar-backed payment stablecoins, which we believe those two things will advance America's power around the world in financial services by extending
the middle of.
That's exactly right. And what was the last thing he said? The dollar's power back. That's what we're talking about here. And meanwhile, a part of this big 2 weeks is next week. On Wednesday, the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, will testify at the U.S. Senate crypto hearing. This is basically largely on market infrastructure. This makes sense. Ripple's providing all kinds of access to the new digital on-chain economy with all of the suite of products they offer, including the XRP ledger, which is a massive piece of market infrastructure. Meanwhile, Stellar's doing great, and Ethereum is expensive. Solana is fast, but lacks Stellar's global reach. This is Ian Burrell, and he's talking about why PayPal has chosen their stablecoin on the Stellar network instead. I love this.
I wasn't sure if you're going to go with that first or not, Tomer. So I think it's really exciting because Stellar is in, I think, like 170 to 180 countries. And so giving us that global reach on a chain that is kind of fast and very low cost really gives us the ability to reach a much different demographic than we have with other coins that we're currently operating on, when Ethereum is a little bit more expensive.
A little bit? Well, he's being nice for the crowd, isn't he? Listen, live in 180 plus countries, you know, just similar to XRP Ledger. And this leans into the whole PayPal using and launching on the Stellar network. Isn't this amazing? They're creating this retail front-facing kind of protocol versus a back-end enterprise protocol. You can see it taking shape even though it's early. And by the way, what also leads into that talk? Ondo Finance tokenizing U.S. Treasuries on the XRP ledger, which is, let me translate it, tokenizing the U.S. debt onto the XRP ledger. That's all, right? Again, tokenizing these back-end huge products, retail, front-end, Stellar network. It seems like it's taking shape here, but everything can be used for everything at the moment. So that's where we're at. And I love that. And then this. Investing legend Bill Miller IV just urged to abolish capital gains taxes on Bitcoin. And I say, how about removing all capital gains on all crypto? Or better yet, just like Ripple Van Winkle says down here, which is really what I intended, is let's remove the capital gains on all U.S. domiciled crypto assets. Yeah, let's do that. And here it is, the conversation with Greg Kidd himself, who said on stage at XRP Las Vegas, Ripple could get a banking license. Not saying that they're going to, but I'm just saying that they could now. And lo and behold, just a few weeks later, Ripple announces that they're getting a banking license.
There's that saying, a coward, what's the difference between a coward and a hero? And like, well, a hero is a coward that doesn't have any other options. So I guess they have to be a hero, right?
Yeah.
So once you see yourself in that situation, then risk begins to invert itself, and you think about the risk of not taking a risk.
Well, and speaking of that, and I think that's so well said. Speaking of that, looking where we are right now, again, stablecoin legislation, some are saying it could be here as soon as April. Some are saying we could have stablecoin legislation, no tax on crypto, a market infrastructure bill, all done by August. I mean, Greg, I just want your thoughts here for a second, because I'm sitting here thinking, if U.S. domiciled assets become no cap gains, which, by the way, as an example, if you're going to be using Solana, ADA, and XRP to make payments, it certainly doesn't make sense to have cap gains on that asset if you want the world to use it in finance, right? But it also does something else in my mind, Greg. It is like the biggest calling card for everyone to come onto those protocols specifically, because they're cap gains free, because you are going to move payments. They are incentivizing the world to understand that these protocols are going to help move the value of the world. Am I seeing this off kilter here?
Well, it certainly makes it much more likely that crypto can be used for payments, because without that, I mean, I worked and built the first crypto debit card. Yeah. The hassle with that was every time you bought a cup of coffee, it was either a capital gain or a capital loss. And it's an accounting nightmare to drink a cup of coffee. And obviously that's not good for the economy. But come on, if it's just an incidental usage, like for payments, I don't think we should be paying capital gains on all that. It's just an accounting nightmare. And it just basically misunderstands what the use of those tokens is for, which is they can be a means of exchange. They're not just there for like a store of value.
I completely agree. And when I think about where we are, the old adage, he who has the gold makes the rules. Right. I heard Chris Giancarlo say one time, he said, he who has the gold makes the rules, but he who controls the payment rails runs the world. And when I think about the idea of doing zero cap gains on those particular U.S. domiciled assets, I start to realize just how important that is to incentivize those value protocols. Because everybody's thinking about, I won't have to pay the cap gains on my gain, my assets. But the real power of this is incentivizing the world to get on those protocols, I believe, because that is about control of the world right there. That's my thought on it.
Look, when I worked at the Fed 20 years ago, we had to have a serious debate over whether your bonus miles, your United or American bonus miles were money. And like that question came up. What if, your miles go up in value or go down in value? Is that a capital gain? Is it a capital loss? And eventually somebody just in the room just had to say, come on, guys, like, don't we have something better to do than like running around? And look, the stuff of overcomplicating human activity with like arcane accounting rules. I mean, give me a break, okay? There is some precedent here for common sense. I know we went through a period where common sense was uncommon, and now we're at a point where maybe rules are uncommon. But I think on these matters, just common sense can prevail.
And there you have it. And I think common sense may prevail here. The only problem I have is that will we see zero cap gains for financial institutions and payment providers, and then some lesser like up to $500 for consumers and retail investors, right? I don't know. When I think it should be blanket all across the board to drive the world onto the U.S. domicile protocols, keeping us dominant in the next transition to the new digital on-chain economy. Because what is at stake here is really the U.S. dollar. That's what the conversation always comes back to, the U.S. dollar. And again, he who controls the gold makes the rules. He who runs the payment rails controls the world. So what does that mean? It means that, to me, it means it's going to be an interesting second half of the year because the dollar is in trouble. We can see the line. But it also means to me the number one reason for private stablecoin issuance is to secure U.S. dollar dominance for the next 150 years with that new use case, making Ripple the Fed 2.0 of all the digital dollars on the new digital payment rails, while the Fed itself is 1.0 in the traditional economy and the current legacy rails that exist. And real USD becomes the new digital dollar 2.0 on those new payment rails. That's what I see taking place, and it makes even more sense that Ripple has filed for a national charter banking license and a direct account with the Fed. And then here we see Paul Barron says at a Singapore press conference, Brad Garlinghouse announced Ripple stablecoin Real USD will be accepted as collateral for all services at Hidden Road. Real USD is the first stablecoin enabling efficient, large-scale cross-margin trading between virtual assets and traditional markets with 24/7 year-round availability. That's what's going on. And I tell you, that is super exciting to me because, again, plugging in to all of the liquidity in the clearing and settlement house of Hidden Road, and we know they're also plugged into the DTCC. So this gets very interesting as we get legislation becoming law, which I believe is the ultimate catalyst and always have for crypto. The world of finance has been transformed forever with the recent acquisition of Hidden Road by Ripple, with Real USD accepted as collateral for all services. Game changer. Game changer, ladies and gentlemen. And Dark Defender says, you damn right it's a game changer. He's still got his $23 cup of coffee target up here. And he says, I carved this in my he carved this writing on my wall. XRP is ready. That's how strong and confident he is. Steph Crypto says the XRP Bollinger Bands are extremely tight again. So here we are, big pump incoming. Could we see the November pump where we got the 450% jump in a month? And here we see the short-term targets, if you're wondering. Close above 235 bullish, close above 242 super bullish. Again, we're creeping up. And then here, according to analyst Credible Bull Crypto, who we have covered multiple times on this channel, shout out to them, price movement fits the Elliott wave model, the next leg potentially reaching $12 short term and $32 by 2026. Now, this falls in line with what I've personally believed, and I've never really talked about, is that we would get some kind of bump throughout the year this year, and then people will think that's probably that's what we get, and that's the end of it. And then we get the legislation becoming law, and then we get a real surge, a super cycle kind of surge, .com era kind of surge. I don't know that happens, but that would be my dream scenario, if you will. Look, it's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'm down for it. I'm here for it. Listen, I believe XRP goes to 4 and 5 digits. I've never known when, and I've never tried to guess. But I tell you what, I'm here for the journey, and I'm not going to leave you. And we've been through a lot together, and we're going to continue to go through it together because I'm not going anywhere. Again, not financial advice from me or anyone else. I hope you'll have a wonderful Sunday with family and friends. I'll catch all of you on the next one.